In recent decades, China has invested heavily in infrastructure development, which has seen the construction of huge projects throughout the country. The aim of this has been to improve transport links and support industry as it transitions into becoming one of the world's largest superpowers, and the speed at which these plans have been put into effect is almost unbelievable. So for today's video, I'm going to count down the top 15 most expensive Chinese megaprojects. Number 15. The Shanghai Hongqiao Integrated Transportation Hub. The Shanghai Hongqiao Integrated Transportation Hub, located in central Shanghai, brings together several modes of transport, from aviation and high-speed rail to metro and buses, in one place, making connecting between these various methods far easier. At a cost of $1.2 billion, it was opened in 2010 as part of the infrastructure plan for the World Expo of that year, and has since become the focal point of public transport in the city. The heart of the hub is the Shanghai Hongqiao International Airport, China's fourth busiest airport, which hosts both domestic and international flights. Next to it is the Shanghai Hongqiao Railway Station. That's one of the largest railway stations in Asia and provides high-speed rail connections to major cities across the country. And it's further integrated with the Shanghai Metro, which directly connects travelers to the rest of the city through metro lines 2, 10, and 17, and an extensive bus network that serves even more destinations. This hub also offers retail and business spaces, so there's plenty to do while you're waiting for your connection, so much so that it's become a destination in its own right. And all in all, the megaproject's proven to be so successful that it's used as the plan for all other new transport infrastructure projects across China, and other cities around the world also look to it for how they can further improve their offering. Number 14. Hangzhou Bay Bridge. Believed to have cost around $1.45 billion by the time it was finally ready to open in May of 2008, the Bay Bridge spans Hangzhou Bay in China and connects Shanghai and Ningbo in a way that has cut travel time between the two in half. At 22.2 miles or 35.7 kilometers long, it's one of the longest oceanic bridges in the world. But this was just the beginning of the engineering challenge and why it was such a costly project. The region's regularly subjected to natural events such as typhoons, and it's also at a risk of rarer occurrences like tidal waves and earthquakes, so the bridge had to be designed to be able to withstand huge pressures that it would be subjected to, if and when those occur. To do this, steel piles were used instead of concrete ones, and a cable-stayed design was chosen because of the strength this gives during tricky conditions. New construction techniques also had to be developed to enable crews to actually build the bridge despite the strong waves and unpredictable weather. So while it may not be the biggest bridge in China, it's certainly one of the most impressive. At 6 lanes wide, the bridge is now a crucial transport artery for the city. It's also reduced traffic pressures along the routes that were used before it opened. It's also become a tourist attraction in itself, with people traveling there to experience the drive over the entirety of the bridge, and then stop off at an artificial island at the midpoint, which is called the Oriental Bright Pearl. It's got restaurants, a shopping area, and a stunning observation deck that gives the best view of the entire bay and the bridge stretching off into the distance. Number 13. Guangzhou East Railway Station. China has invested heavily in a high-speed rail network in recent decades, and the Guangzhou Eastern Railway Station, located in the city of Guangzhou in Henan Province, is one of the central hubs. First opened in 2012, it's one of the largest stations in the country, covering an area of more than 3.2 million square feet, or 300,000 square meters, and is a particularly important stop on the Beijing to Guangzhou and Zhuhai to Lanzhou high-speed railway lines. In total, it's got 14 platforms and 26 passenger tracks, all of which are surrounded by a monumental glass and steel edifice, as well as cutting-edge facilities, which makes it feel like you've stepped into the future. Costing around $2.8 billion to build, the station's equipped with advanced technologies such as high-speed Wi-Fi, intelligent lighting, and automatic ticket vending machines, all of which ensure a seamless and convenient experience for the millions of passengers who pass through here each year. Even the building's layout from the design stage was planned with passenger flow in mind, with a central hall and arrival area on the lower floor and departure areas on the sides, meaning that each passenger, no matter if they've arrived or are leaving, is usually walking in the same direction. It's a cleverly designed modern station, and one that gives you the impression you're journeying on a transport network fit for the 21st century as soon as you step foot inside. Number 12. Jinshan Nuclear Power Plant. China's phenomenal expansion in the past few decades has meant that the country's power needs have drastically risen too. While they still rely heavily on fossil fuels, huge investment has also been put into alternatives, and at an initial cost of $3.3 billion, the first domestically designed nuclear power plant was opened in 1991. Located in Zhejiang Province, the Qinshan nuclear power plant has since been expanded to include multiple units using different types of reactor designs, including pressurized water reactors, heavy water reactors, and advanced pressurized water reactors. The diversity in reactor types shows the flexibility and adaptability of China's nuclear power industry. But because of all these expansions, it would cost many times its initial budget to replicate what it now produces. Today, the facility covers an area of almost 4 square miles, or about 10.2 square kilometers, and it's got an installed capacity of 4,100 megawatts, which contributes a significant amount of energy to the grid. The plan is eventually to continue upgrading this power plant, but to also take what's been learned from a series of new ones that'll be built around the country to support China's energy requirements into the latter part of this century. It's then hoped that this will reduce the reliance on carbon-emitting alternatives and be one of the main pillars of the country's energy strategy to combat climate change. Number 11. Beijing South Railway Station. The $3.5 billion Beijing South Railway Station, which is more commonly known locally as Beijingnan, is one of the largest transportation hubs in Asia and situated in the southern part of Beijing, the capital city of China. There's been a station on the site since 1897, but it was closed in 2006 and completely redeveloped, with the new building opening in 2008. Covering a 79-acre site in the Fengtai district, more than 4,000 people worked full-time on the project, which used more than 60,000 tons of steel and more than 17 million cubic feet of concrete. The roof itself is one of the largest single-span roofs in the world. It covers an area of 3.4 million square feet or 320,000 square meters, and is made almost entirely of glass, with 3,200 solar panels installed on top to provide power to the concourse below. The station operates several high-speed lines, including the Beijing to Tianjin Intercity Railway and the Beijing to Shanghai High-Speed Railway, and in total, it's got 24 platforms, which give a combined ability serving 30,000 passengers an hour, which equates to over 241 million people per year. Even the waiting room is next level here, with a floor space of 2.7 million square feet, or 250,000 square meters. It can accommodate as many as 10,000 people at a time. With an underground arrivals hall and connections to the city's metro and bus services, it's one of the most advanced stations you'll find anywhere in the world, and a great example of how efficient design can transform a transportation network. Number 10. Beijing Capital International Airport Terminal. Opened in time for the Summer Olympics in 2008 at an estimated cost of $3.8 billion, the new third terminal at Beijing Capital International Airport is the second largest and most advanced airport terminal on Earth. It covers an area of 14 million square feet or 1.3 million square meters, and across 7 levels has 66 jetways, 120 gates, and is split into 3 main concourses, which are further subdivided so passengers can easily find the gate they're looking for. Amazingly, the $240 million luggage transfer system can handle 19,000 pieces of baggage per hour, and it's moved so quickly that passengers are usually able to collect their checked bags within 5 minutes of them having been removed from the aircraft. The huge structure was designed by the renowned British architect Norman Foster, and it was designed this way to reflect a blend of traditional Chinese culture and cutting-edge technology. Its roof, for example, resembles a dragon's back, a symbol of good fortune in Chinese culture, while the interior showcases sleek lines, spacious halls, and natural lighting, creating an atmosphere of openness and serenity for what's arguably the most stressful part of a journey. There's plenty to do here to pass the time, as alongside the usual duty-free stores and restaurants, there's also fitness facilities, a swimming pool, and even several art galleries and spaces for cultural exhibitions. Unusually, the terminal is around 3 miles or 5 kilometers from the other terminals of the airport, so a high-speed rail line was built to provide travel between them. And there are also fast connections to Beijing and via China's high-speed rail network far beyond. Also, it now serves as a hub for various domestic and international airlines. It plays a vital role in connecting Beijing and China to the rest of the world. Number 9. Guangzhou Baiyun International Airport. Opened in 2004, Guangzhou Baiyun International Airport, located in Guangzhou, China, is one of the busiest airports in the world, serving both passenger and cargo aircraft. It cost an estimated $3.7 billion to build during its first stage, and has since undergone several expansions. It now, in theory, can cater to 80 million passengers and 2.5 million tons of cargo per year, although with recent difficulties in the airline industry and international transport, it's yet to reach those figures. Still, it's the busiest airport in China and anywhere else in the world. Only several airports in the US handle larger volumes. With 3 runways covering an area of around 3 square miles or 7.5 kilometers, it's divided into 2 main terminals, the the second of which only opened recently in 2019, and on its own has 8.7 million square feet, or almost 800,000 square meters of floor space. Countless different airlines operate through the airport, with more than 100 destinations, mostly domestic, which has made Guangzhou Baiyun one of the most important transport hubs in China. Always with an eye on the future, the next phase of expansion has already been approved, and within just a few years it's expected to have 3 terminals, 5 runways, and a satellite concourse, plus a high-speed rail station, which will increase its capacity to 775,000 aircraft movements per year, which equates to 120 million passengers and 3.8 million tons of freight. Number 8. Shanghai Tower. As a dominating figure on the Shanghai skyline, the $4.2 billion Shanghai Tower reaches a height of 2,073 feet, or 632 meters, which makes it the tallest building in China and the 3rd tallest in the world. Completed in 2015, it was seen as a symbol of China's emergence as a global economic powerhouse. It's got a spiral form, which is created by 9 cylindrical buildings stacked on top of one another, and has a total of 128 floors. Probably the most unique thing about its design, though, is the double-skinned facade, which provides insulation and reduces energy consumption. The outer layer is composed of transparent glass, while the inner layer consists of perforated aluminum alloys that act as a sunshade and controls the amount of sunlight entering the building, and therefore the amount of heat. This energy-efficient design significantly reduces the building's carbon footprint and sets new standards for sustainable architecture, with it being the tallest leadership in energy and environmental design platinum-certified building, a record it's held since it was completed. Inside the tower, there's a mixture of commercial, retail, and entertainment spaces, as well as the world's joint highest observation deck, which sits at 1,844 feet or 562 meters. It also has some of the fastest elevators in the world, which are able to reach speeds of 46 miles per hour or 74 kilometers per hour and allow passengers to reach the top in just a matter of seconds. Number 7. Suzhou Industrial Park. Covering an area of 107 square miles or 278 square kilometers, and with an estimated 800,000 permanent residents, the Suzhou Industrial Park is an economic and technological development zone in Suzhou, China. Established in 1994 and around 50 miles or 80 kilometers to the west of Shanghai, the $5 billion project was developed between the Chinese and Singaporean governments and features a blend of modern infrastructure, green spaces, and high-quality living environments. With a focus on attracting foreign investment by offering tax incentives and simplified administrative processes, as well as developing a skilled workforce, the park's become a magnet for multinational corporations, research and development centers, and high-tech industries. To ensure the workforce is up to the task, it has one of the best school systems in China, with 130 educational institutions and an entire town dedicated to its university. This encouraged families to move there from all over China and has resulted in one of the best educated districts in the world. While things were underwhelming at first, mainly because of extremely high rental costs and an effort to recoup the initial investment, the industrial park has now proven to be a resounding success. By 2019, official figures showed that more than 25,000 organizations were doing business there, including 91 Fortune 500 companies. And in 25 years, it had contributed almost $120 billion in tax revenue and more than $1 trillion in foreign trade volume. Number 6. Guangzhou-Shenzhen Hong Kong High-Speed Railway. Costing around $11 billion to build, the Guangzhou to Shenzhen to Hong Kong High-Speed Railway is an ambitious infrastructure project to connect Hong Kong to Beijing by rail, and was officially opened in September of 2018. At 88.2 miles or 142 kilometers long, it goes from West Kowloon Station in Hong Kong to Guangzhou North Station, a journey that takes just 47 minutes. It then connects to China's high-speed rail network and allows travel from Hong Kong all the way to Beijing, which is a distance of almost 1,400 miles or 2,200 kilometers in just under 9 hours. To do this, it uses cutting-edge technology, and on this particular stretch, it sees trains reach speeds of up to 124 miles an hour, or 200 kph, and they can go even faster once they're on the mainland. Its completion has, of course, had a major impact on the connectivity of Hong Kong with China, and despite there still being the need to clear immigration when entering or leaving the Special Administrative Region, it's a faster alternative to driving and a much cheaper and more easily accessible option than flying, especially as there are currently 104 northbound and 101 southbound services each day. Number 5. Chengdu Tianfu International Airport. Chengdu Tianfu International Airport is a huge new aviation hub that's located in Chengdu, the capital city of the Sichuan province in China, and is the second international airport serving the region. At a cost of around $10.8 billion, it officially opened in June of 2021 after just 6 years of construction and has become a vital gateway to Western China. Covering an area of 7.6 million square feet, or 710,000 square meters, it has 3 runways and 2 terminals in the shape of the mythical Sunbird, with a capacity of up to 60 million passengers and 24,000 tons of cargo per year. Eventually, though, the plan is to continue its development until it becomes the 3rd largest airport hub in China, which will involve another 3 runways and 2 terminals. As it's barely been in operation for about 2 years, parts of the infrastructure around the airport are still waiting to come online. But it will also be connected to the rail network, the metro, and a personal rapid transport system to take people between the terminals and parking lots. It's also a major airbase for China, where it operates aircraft maintenance facilities, a 1,500-bed hostel for staff, and a huge 31,000-square-foot lounge, and is currently moving operations there from elsewhere in the nearby region. Chengdu Tianfu International Airport is a stunning new modern airport, and one that shows just how committed China is to bringing transport links and therefore stimulating economic growth around the country, rather than the traditional centers. Number 4. Beijing-Shanghai High-Speed Railway. The Beijing to Shanghai High-Speed Railway is arguably the most important transport link in China and connects the political and cultural capital Beijing with the economic center Shanghai. Covering a distance of 819 miles or 1,300 kilometers and costing upwards of $15 billion, or in some estimates more than double that figure, it's the most profitable high-speed line in the country and one of the busiest in the world, with 210 million passengers in a typical year. Construction on the project began in 2008, and amazingly, it was completed by 2011, making it one of the fastest rail projects ever. With a top speed of 236 miles or 380 kilometers per hour, it serves 24 stations along the route, and you can travel from Beijing to Shanghai in just under 4 hours, which is a significant improvement on the almost 10 hours it would take on the conventional railway that runs parallel to it. 87% of the railway was built on elevated tracks, and along its entire length there are 22 tunnels and 244 bridges, including the Danyang to Kunshan Grand Bridge, which is the longest one in the world. With services departing every 5 minutes, the railway is able to transport 220,000 people each day. And based on there just being over 1,000 passengers on each train, it's so efficient that the energy consumption per person for a journey along the entire route is about the same as it takes to fully charge an electric car. Number 3. Hong Kong-Zhuhai Macau Bridge. The Hong Kong to Zhuhai to Macau Bridge, which is usually abbreviated as the HZMB, is one of the longest sea crossings in the world and provides a much-needed road link between Hong Kong, Zhuhai, and Macau across the Pearl River Delta region of China. After years of planning and at least $15.7 billion, it opened in October of 2018 and is made up of 3 cable-stayed bridges, an undersea tunnel, and 4 artificial islands along its 34 miles or 55-kilometer stretch. This design was chosen for its sturdiness, as the bridge not only had to be able to cope with huge amounts of traffic passing each day, but also needed to be able to withstand weather events such as typhoons, as well as potential earthquakes and the continual pressures that the waves and tidal forces of the saltwater put on it. With 3 lanes in each direction, it's got a lifespan of about 120 years, but as with all bridges like it, the plan is to constantly repair and renovate it, so hopefully it will last much longer than that. This mega project was a massive undertaking, not just for the financial cost and the complicated engineering techniques required to make it a reality, but also for the political cost, with countless delays and objections because of its impact, and the human cost, as 19 people lost their lives while working on it. Since opening, the bridge has, however, supercharged the economy and made connections far easier between the cities that it serves, with, for example, a journey from Hong Kong to Zhuhai now just taking 30 minutes, as opposed to the 4 hours it would have taken previously. Number 2. Wuhan-Guangzhou High-Speed Railway. Connecting the cities of Wuhan and Guangzhou, the capitals of the Hubei and Guangdong provinces, the Wuhan-Guangzhou High-Speed Railway is now one of the most important travel corridors in southern China. Construction on the $15.8 billion megaproject began in 2005, and it was completed by 2009, at which time it had a length of 601 miles or 968 kilometers. As part of China's high-speed network, it connects with other branches that have created a vast route that connects Hong Kong all the way to Beijing, with countless stops along the way. This stretch, though, sees trains averaging speeds of 194 miles or 313 kilometers per hour and serves 16 stations between the terminals in the two main cities. Non-stop trains, which are now no longer run due to commercial factors, were able to complete the entire route in just 3 hours, which more than halved what had previously been possible. Particularly when it opened, the cost of using the line was prohibitively expensive for most people, though, and it also heavily impacted China Southern Airlines, which saw passenger numbers drastically drop once the railway was opened. Still, within the first decade, it carried a reported 500 million passengers over 1 million train services, and in a normal year, it makes a healthy profit, meaning it's generally regarded as a success and well worth the upfront cost. Number 1. Beijing Daxing International Airport. First opened in 2019 and costing more than $17 billion in total, the Beijing Daxing International Airport, which is in the Daxing district of the city, covers an area of 18 square miles or 47 square kilometers, and holds the record for having the largest single-building airport terminal, which has a floor space of 7.5 million square feet or 700,000 square meters. It's also, because of its unusual shape, often known as the starfish, but this ingenious design gives quick access to the gates and facilitates 27 passenger airlines to operate from it. With 4 runways, 3 of which are used for commercial flights and the 4th which is dedicated to military use, the airport can handle, in theory, up to 120 million passengers per year, a figure that would make it by far the busiest airport in the world, but a record that it's not yet been able to achieve. Currently, it's one of 2 international airports in the city, and while the original plan was for it to take over operations from Beijing Capital Airport, significant investment has recently been put into developing it too, so there's currently a huge surplus in capacity ready for the coming years when travel's expected to increase again. Hopefully. I'll see you next time.
Watch our binge-watching playlist if you'd like to watch all of our most popular top 15 videos. Grab a drink, grab a snack, and get ready to binge.
The Top 5 show has launched channel memberships. Thank you to our channel members.